Shri Saumya Kashisha Maheshwaraya Tasmai Namah Swami Tapovanaya. Shri Saumya Kashisha Maheshwaraya Tasmai Namah Swami Tapovanaya.
Samasta Janakalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satguram Brahma Vidvaram. Letter 4. Om Narayana Smriti Tapovan Kuti Uttarakasi, Tehri Himalayas. It is several days since the letter was received. The food parcel arrived even earlier. Incidentally, Swami Chinmayananda happened to tell me of your dispassion, fasting and other religious observances, imbued with firm devotion to godly way of life. It is a matter of regret that in sending replies and directions to even such deserving people, there is so much delay owing to my habitual indifference. Hope the old warning not to get worried or vexed over the delay will be remembered. Anticipatory bail. I will not do this regularly, you have to understand. Now he says, concentrate your mind upon japa and meditation. You see how beautiful these thought flows are. One letter connecting to another. Concentrate your mind upon japa and meditation as a rule in the early morning, Brahma Muhurta, and night. Sit in a firm posture as long as possible and go on repeating the name of God. Japa is a time-tested technique, a very original Hindu thought, adopted by all other faiths too. Islam, Christianity, Judaism. Everyone has taken up to doing japa. Why? Because when we take the name of the Lord, that is the easiest way we can connect. To connect to the higher is just remembering. A thought, and then, with the sound comes the form, with the form comes the concept, and we can get connected. So regularly repeating the name of the Lord would be very helpful. So here Swamiji says, concentrate your mind upon japa and meditation. As a rule, in the early morning, Brahma Muhurta, and night, sit in a firm posture as long as possible and go on repeating the name of God. Brahma Muhurta. What is Brahma Muhurta? 4 a.m. I read a very interesting concept, very beautifully, to think of, this kind of thought analysis. The next month is Margali. Why we do puja in Margali in the mornings? Every morning, Margali, for whole month you will have Nama Sankirtan and all that. Why? We simply do. One whole month, you see how people take chanting of the name of the Lord, singing bhajans. They move around the city, the town, in their colony, wherever one is. And Margadi is a very popular spiritual practicing month, morning and evening. But why? Why not some other month? Why only this month? You know, the time, one day of ours is equal to, like 1 year of ours is equal to 1 day of Devas. So 1 whole year is the 12 hours of the Devas, time concept. And 1 whole year, 6 months. Our 6 months is 12 hours of the Devas. And another 6 months is another 12 hours, day and night. So it is said, for Devas it is Brahma Muhurta, Margali. You see the kind of thinking. For Devas it is Brahma Muhurta, therefore we also follow, because it's 6 months. So this is the time. And when you calculate from the sun, it perfectly fits inside that timing. And imagine the layers of faith added to make something more intense. That Devas Brahma Muhurta, they would be meditating. That is the right time. Therefore, you all do 1 whole month. Because their 6 months, 12 hours. So concentrate your mind upon japa and meditation as a rule in the early morning, Brahma Muhurta, and the night. See, I'll tell you, the world has changed so much. The timing, the schedules, travels, all that is gone. We may not be able to do it regularly in the morning time. Because you do not know when you have to get up, when you have to move, various things. But night, we can be consistent. This is important. To be consistent in doing prayer in the night is important. Wherever you are, you will retire. So at that point of time, doing japa and going off into sleep is very, very important. So he says, as a rule, as a rule, this cannot be compromised. We should not compromise on consistency of doing japa. That's why Swamiji uses the word, the rule. As a rule, in the early morning, Brahma Muhurta, and night, sit in a firm posture as long as possible. As long as possible. What is your ability? How long can you stretch? Do it as long as possible. If one can sit without any movement for 3 hours, it is called asana siddhi. So we should try, can I, keep extending. So that way, till what you think you can extend, keep doing it so that sitting in a posture for longer period of time gets extended. So he says here, sit in a firm posture as long as possible and go on repeating the name of God. Also meditate upon his form. In the early stages, the mind will be prone to stray. But don't give up practices. Very practical. Because sometimes there are people who say, my mind is fine till I sit for meditation. Till then I'm really fine. My thoughts are decent. Everything is fine. When I sit there, all kinds of things come. Think. So the mind would play various tricks. And there could be a point where the mind can convince us completely, saying, you don't even attempt all this. This is not for you. You wait for next birth. Our mind convinces. Like you think you can realize God? What do you think? If our mind is going to throw this kind of opinion about us, it's going to be difficult. It will go this way. Only method is not to give up. Let it be absolutely discouraging. the mind is not cooperating, it is not coming online, don't give up. Giving up is forgetting the goal. Don't give up. Stay to it. Mind is not cooperating, but this practice I will do. Continuously doing, the mind will calm down. The mind will come online. Krishna tells Arjuna in the Gita, Abhyasa Kaunteya, Abhyasa Vairagya are the only ways you have to bring this kind of a mind which is unruly, unamenable, but it can come online if we keep it consistently. In the early stages, the mind will be prone to stray, but don't give up practices. If one has sincere faith in God and love for Him, the exercise can give only joy. In no way can it be distasteful. Are you happy doing japa? Are you happy doing puja? Is there a joy when you do it? Or are you doing it because you are told to do? If I don't do, God may get angry. Something bad can happen. I don't like it, what I'm doing. No. The moment we have love for God, this will only create joy. It will only bring happiness. This paragraph, when you read this paragraph, the coming paragraph, like yesterday I told you, it only shows Gurudev's compassion. What kind of a teacher Swami Tapovan Maharaj is and how much Gurudev tolerated. He says here, moderation in conversation is a great sadhana. Moderation in conversation. As far as possible, talk of God. Don't pollute your mind with petty talk of love and hate. Avoid criticism of other people. Spend not much time listening to news and newspapers. When was this letter written? It's 1951. How many news channels were there in 1951? How many newspapers were there? He found it at that time, this is redundant. There was a kind of a honesty with the newspapers that time. They reported news. Today they present views as news. We have to be careful. What you read is a view. Most of the time it is not news. It is views. Presented as if it is news. And after 9 o'clock, all these channels which work, 9 o'clock Indian time, okay. Trash. You want yourself to get agitated? Watch them. The more you watch, the more agitated we will be. At that time, he's saying, don't spend time on newspapers, listening to news and reading news. In 51, one news will come in the morning. And one news in the evening. And very few papers. Today, newspapers have an agenda. The company which starts has an agenda. It's completely different. At that time, he said, don't spend time on all this. What kind of sadhaks he was expecting? You think we would fit in anywhere? Anywhere? Being trained under a master of that kind. What nonsense Gurudev put up with us. You understand? Every moment that thought would come. What was it to be with his Guru? What kind of expectation his Guru had? And what kind of a discipline and molding he did? And what kind of response we have? It's a lot to think. If you get into that kind of a thing, you see a kind of a discipline, and that discipline in which one was molded, and you compromise every moment for someone else. This is compassion. Moderation in conversation is a great sadhana. Do you realize that? Simply talking, no sense. No sense. It is going to inspire you, most of the conversation. It elevates the mind. It gives us a better direction. It works on something. Sometimes we talk trash. So he says, moderation in conversation is a great sadhana. Let's learn this first. Speak what is essential. Speak something which is noble. Speak something which leads us to the higher. Speak something which is good for the community. That kind of a thing. As far as possible, talk of God. Boy, moderation is a great sadhana. If you want to talk of God. Just speak. As far as possible, talk of God. Don't pollute your mind with petty talk of love and hate. Raga dvesha. Don't pollute your mind with this. Because the conversation makes deeper impressions. It goes on forming impressions, layers and layers. Avoid criticism of other people. By criticizing, we think of that more and more. It gets into our head first. So avoid criticism of other people. Spend not much time listening to news and newspapers. Keep away from bad company, for it will upset the mind. Keep away from bad company. Bad company, keep away from the companionship which takes you away from God. Keep away from that companionship which diverts your mind away. Keep away from that, because that is of no use to us. Keep away from that kind of a company, for it will upset the mind. Now and then observe a day of silence. Wonderful sadhana. Please practice this. I remember talking about this in my earlier visits too. How important solitude is. Withdraw. Sit quietly. A day of silence. The moment you disconnect from the rest of the world, saying, leave me alone today. I just want to be myself. I do not want any other distractions, just myself. You know what level of introspection will happen? Today we don't have time. Neither do we have leisure to make our own analysis on about ourselves. We are lost. How occupied are we? When is the free time? It is irony. The word school is called leisure in Latin. It's a Latin word, escole, means leisure. Is there leisure in school? That learning can be better in leisure. You understand a Gurukula pattern. Education is round the clock. For 12 years, you will have your own leisure, you will have your own work. There is enough time to contemplate. It was a different kind of an education. Today we are loaded, cramped. A day of silence, as seekers, a day of silence would be useful. Just tell people, on this day I am off, don't. Put the phones off, disconnect. When I do this, sit by myself, being silent, not communicating, not conversing with anybody, I am going with myself. I would start looking at myself. I would make a better analysis of me. There could be certain things others are noticing, I would not notice. All others have noticed it in me, but I would not have noticed. But a day of silence, withdrawn, there is a possibility I notice. And please remember, when I notice, change will happen. If you notice something in me, I'm not going to change. But if I notice something in me, if this in me isn't good, then I'll make a change. This mirror of seeing myself can happen in solitude, in silence. So one day, he says here, keep away from bad company for it will upset the mind. Now and then observe a day of silence. Eat only pure sattvic food. Never eat too much. Impure or excessive food will put aspirants into difficulties. Taking somebody by the hand, you walk with me, I'll tell you this is how to walk. Look at the day-to-day instructions. He says here, now and then observe a day of silence. Eat only pure sattvic food. Never eat too much. Impure or excessive food will upset aspirants into difficulties, will put aspirants into difficulties. On some days it is good to eat fruits alone or fast completely. Ekadasi, etc. The Japanese guy got a Nobel Prize for this.
Yes.
That if you fast one day, it is good. Nobel Prize. Because he explained the process, that's all. This is another thing which we need to know. Certain things we learn through technology. Certain things we learn through mantra. Through technology you learn, that learning is called learning through yantra, equipments. Rishis learnt not through yantra, through mantra. That was more intuitive. Chanting a mantra, reciting a mantra again and again, they develop something, deep kind of an intuition. Through mantra they learn. Most of it is learnt through mantra. If Yajnavalkya could sit, chant Gayatri mantra, and look at the sun and tell what is the distance between the earth and the sun, it was not done through a yantra. It was not done through an instrument. It was done through mantra. We had a learning through mantra. Today what we learn is through different instruments. So these people have learned things that way. The rishis. So here when he says, that Ekadasi one day, we have not analyzed the process. We know that if you don't eat, it is good. And it has come down to generations. You saw the movie on Ramanuja? The mathematician? The man who found infinity? You must tell Balvihar children to see it. Screen it sometimes and make all the kids watch it. Because there it is taught, it is said very clearly. He would throw a solution to a problem on mathematics. How did you arrive on it? All he would say is, Goddess tells me. The goddess I worship, she tells me. Hardy would say this won't work. We can't get you into that, we can't give you the scholarship. We can't give you the fellowship. You need to tell how this is. Tell me the process. He said, no, I don't know. I can't tell you the process. Is my answer wrong? No, your answer is right. But how did you arrive? I don't know. How I arrived? Intuitive. He would just feel. So he is a man of faith and you would say, the goddess just tells me. Learning through mantra. And Hardy said, no, this will not get you the fellowship. We need to see you there. At one point of time in the conversation, Ramanuja says, you're killing me. I can't do it. It is too strenuous for me to understand the process. But what I'm saying, I know. But how do you arrive on it? You are asking me to write it down. That which hits you on an intuition, in a flash, you are asking it to record step by step. What strain that would be. The world has not learned that the Hindu rishis have learned things through mantra power. If you ask Yajnavalkya, tell me how do you know the distance between the earth and the sun, what will you do? He knew it. This is the distance and I'm telling you, you just measure. He's right. But how did you arrive? He can't. It happens in a flash. If Brahmagupta said the diameter of the earth is 7008 miles, he's right. How did you arrive on it? Now, how would he say that? So it's done, learned through mantra. So whether fasting for a day is a known fact, not probably this way, like how the Japanese made the analysis. Cell to cell, how it grows, how it makes a difference, how it is useful. He showed the process. Hindus arrived on things not without showing the process. The distance and anything you see. So he says, some days it is good to eat fruits alone or fast completely. Along with it, it would be better to keep silence. Once again. Along with it, it would be better to keep silence and devote the entire time to worship of God once a month or weekly once. This day is committed only for it. We would go deeper that way. He continues further. Reading books of devotion and self-knowledge and consideration of their purport for an hour or two daily will help to lift the mind above worldly affairs and strengthen the spirit of dispassion. Reading something for an hour or two. We are pleading, do sadhana for 20 minutes. Japa for 5 minutes, study for 5 minutes, Arti, ringing of the bell 5 minutes, sit quietly 5 minutes. We don't have time. 20 minutes. You see here, 2 hours, study something that deep. Because if you are serious about realization, that amount of effort has to be given. We won't get there at all. So if we want to go there, we want to evolve, we need to give that kind of a time required for it. It should become our priority. Enlightenment must be our priority, otherwise we will not go there. How will we go there? So he says here, for an hour or two will help to lift the mind above the worldly affairs and strengthen the spirit of dispassion. Association with Mahatmas is still more beneficial. No book or scripture can confer the same degree of benefit. But real sadhus are of course rare. And opportunities to associate with them are rarer still in these days. 1951. Is it not rare? Think of it. How many people we have seen like Gurudev? A Shrotriya Brahmanishta, how rare. It's very important that these kind of masters, Ramana Maharishi, etc., Gurudev, what they have said are very important for us. With all sincerity we should follow, because they have walked the path, they know how they have reached, and their words, their instructions are very important. So here Swamiji says, association with Mahatmas is still more beneficial. If we can be with these people, it inspires. In their presence we feel elevated. It lifts us up. It gives us a different kind of a commitment. It pushes us forward. We start moving fast. But if these people are not available often, because they are very rare, no book or scripture can confer the same degree of benefit. But real sadhus are of course rare, and opportunities to associate with them are rarer still in these days. In this kind of circumstances, a study of the works of ancient rishis will be something of a substitute for personal contact. What else can be done? He puts that question. What else can be done? Reading those ancient books would be a substitute. Being with a Mahatma is a beautiful experience, but that is rare. And even if there is a Mahatma like that walking among us, to continuously associate would be rare. We know when Gurudev walked, how rare it was. So, he says, the only other substitute what we can do is the books. Commit to the books. Because we want to be in that zone. Our mind has to be in that zone. That means committing to the study is very, very important. There he continues further. Try to raise the mind above such pairs as pleasure and pain, friend and foe, honor and dishonor. Try to raise the mind above all this. The mind above such pairs as pleasure and pain, friend and foe, honor and dishonor. Maintain equanimity. Instruction. We want to live here well and we want to seek God. Maintain equanimity. Do not get yourself oscillated. Let joy not excite us. Just take it as it comes. And let not sorrow depress us. Are they new? Excitement is new. Joy is new. How many times we must have been excited, happy with the world? How many times? Again something happens, very happy. How many times we must have been, and still we keep falling into the same thing. Is sorrow new to us? How many times we must have experienced them? Both are nothing new. It is a same repetitive experience. Let's not get oscillated by it. Let us maintain equanimity. Let's maintain equanimity. Saying, no, I refuse to get disturbed. I will maintain my balance. I refuse to get depressed, nor do I get excited. No. Because we have seen all this. What is there to excite in the world? And to be depressed by it. So he says, maintain equanimity. All this will be possible. The mind will rise above all this only if the goal is Godhead and nothing else. We can easily move up if God is our goal. Why are you here? To realize God. Why are you here? To complete this journey, the cycle of birth and death. We have come again and again. Let's end this. This cycle of birth and death we should be done with. How is the world now? How is this world? Analyze it properly. Don't get cheated. Look at this world properly. You want to come back here? Into this world? For some desires not fulfilled? What is the new desire we will get again coming back? We have seen enough of it. So we should make sure that no point, it's not worth coming back. We should finish this race, we should rise above. It should become an obsession deep down, saying, I'm not going to come back. I need to reach that. Let this cycle of birth and death end. And what kind of a journey is it? Coming back again. The process of coming back. And after coming back to struggle, it would be the same kind of a life. Struggle and be happy now, get unhappy, and try to, what kind of a thing is that? So he says, we should keep God. He says, but all this will be possible. The mind will rise above all these, joy, sorrow, it will rise above all this only if the goal is Godhead and nothing else. If priority is God, we will transcend all this. If God or realization is not our goal, then we will be only meandering around this. If the mind plunges into the thought of God, immerses in it, when will it have time and opportunity to think of matters like honor, dishonor? If you are involved, mind thinks of something nobler and higher, would it have time? Do we have time to waste on all this? Honor, dishonor, get this, get that. Many of us sometimes get lost. We should be extremely alert. Otherwise the world will get you in a way and you won't even know. How many seekers have started with sincerity and not being alert, fall victim to self-projections? And that becomes important. Power struggle, establishment. Where are we? Now that has become a goal. Lost. So he says here, if the mind plunges into the thought of God and immerses in it, when will it have time and opportunity to think of matters like honor, dishonor, personal? Mind is inspired by something very noble. Now he makes a statement, this you need to remember. Balance of mind is moksha. Try and understand the line. Swami Tapovan Maharaj is saying, you may argue with your Shastrik Shrotriya knowledge. How can this be? Balance of mind is not a moksha. That is Shastric information. This is a statement from man of realization. Balance of mind is moksha. What a statement. He says, balance of mind is moksha. It is God realization. So if we can practice equanimity, we are there almost. Just learn to practice equanimity. Same between honor and dishonor. Joy, sorrow. Comfort, discomfort. Balance. You know, the tragedy in pampering the body is, after a point of time, when you want to seek full time or you want to withdraw, this old habit of body being pampered will come on the way. It will not allow us. Why don't you withdraw? Stay quietly and seek God. Your ashram has television. Hot water is available. Hot water. Hot water comes on your way between you and God. Why? I am used to a kind of a comfort. Now I can't be without it. I need the comfort. For what? I need the comfort of the body. That means I am attached to the form and I will meditate on formless. Don't cheat yourself. Attached to the form and I lift my mind to the formless. We should know to endure. Comfort, discomfort should be fine. See, I'll tell you, this titiksha is very important. That should not be lost. Sometimes you may have, and slowly comfort can take over. We should not lose it. Because it is gained with a lot of effort. To be comfortable, and without comfort, you should be fine. Sleeping under a tree, you should be comfortable. With nothing. Maybe in a proper accommodation, you are comfortable. But under a tree, you must be comfortable. One day there is no hot water. How difficult. Body. We know I am not the body. We can tell people I am not the body, but can't take little cold water on the body. Getting used to comfort, pampering the body will never take us forward. Let us learn to strike the balance. Let us practice equanimity. With comfort, without comfort, I am fine. If we can start practicing that, what Swamiji says now, balance of mind is moksha, it is God realization. Please remember this. If you have a book, underline that. What is God realization? Swami Tapovan Maharaj says, balance of mind is God realization. Getting there is almost getting into the destination. I have never seen a definition so clearly. Only Brahmanishtas can say that. Because they know what it is. A person who has a Shastric information can argue from Shastra standpoint. This is not there, that is not there, that is, But a person who has known it, what they say is completely different. Balance of mind is moksha, it is God realization, it is all transcending peace, all transcending bliss. So what is our sadhana? Let's be very clear. Start practicing balance of mind. Balance of mind. At all times, just try to stay balanced. It will take us to moksha. Something more clear cannot be told. I tell you, look at this letter. What is God realization? Balance of mind. Practice equanimity. And you get there. That goal which we are seeking, that goal which we are aiming, that goal which can complete this journey, how? Balance of mind. Balance of mind is moksha, it is God realization, it is all transcending peace, all transcending bliss. It is the supreme object of human life. It is the object of human life. We live only for that. It is the object of human life. All spiritual sadhanas start aiming at it. This is what all spiritual sadhana. Perpetual delight of the mind in God principle is its real balance. Perpetual delight in God principle. You're happy about it. Is the real balance. Maintain equanimity. Try to raise the mind above such pairs as pleasure, pain, friend, foe, honor, dishonor. Maintain equanimity. We can do it if God realization is our goal. If that becomes our goal, naturally we will get ourselves balanced. And once we balance ourselves, he says that is moksha. It is God realization. This is a very simple kind of a direction that do not get perturbed. Do not get disturbed. Don't allow the world to disturb you. Stay balanced. Do not get excited. If we can keep ourselves that way, there we are. The path is made very clear. The instructions are clear. Just try to remain equanimous. Practice equanimity. Make sure. End of the day, introspect on this. How balanced I was today. Or I lost myself. So when I can continuously become aware of how balanced I am, we are progressing. Every day in the introspection, this should be. With that, we end letter 4. It's a small letter, but deep and profound. Any questions? The next letter is big. We can't go into that. So 4 letters are okay. Huh?
You were saying how you could have more disturbance in mind if they attempt to do some meditation. So how do you reduce that? How do you handle that?
Which one? Ha ha ha. See, the mind would throw all kinds of things when it is given particularly this kind of a quietness of the mind. Meditation is to make the mind quiet, so it's going to rebel. So I have heard one instruction Gurudev says, you are doing japa and all kinds of thoughts are coming. Mind is getting disturbed. He says, raise the volume of the chant in the mind. Suppose you are chanting in the mind, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. How would you raise the volume in the mind? So you know what he says? It should be like you are calling someone that side of the road. It's a very beautiful instruction. All kinds of thoughts are coming, and if you have to scream to someone that side of the road, how will you scream? Do that pitch in the mind, japa. When I rise my pitch within the mind, all other things will become quiet. This would be an instant way. Second method, do not analyze what thoughts come. Don't bother about it. By analyzing why this thought has come, you are making that thought come 10 more times. It has nothing to do with you. You are neither the thought. So it has just come, let it go. It's nothing to do with me. Be indifferent to it. If you say why this has come, I'm sure it will repeat again and again. So we should not even ask this question. It's a thought, I am not the thought. Thoughts come, I am a witness to it, allow it to pass. When you're chanting, if thoughts are disturbing, mind goes away, start raising the pitch in the mind. Mind will get quiet.
Swamiji, how does one make choices? Your role is confronted with conflicting choices. So I'd rather be here in the morning, but my kids would want me at home. And sometimes it does lead to conflicting situations at home as well, at work similarly. When you have to make a choice, of course I know I'm a seeker who's a mother, but I'm also a seeker who's a worker, a seeker who's a wife. But how do you convince yourself what's the right choice?
The education system which we have today is not all-inclusive. In the past, it was all-inclusive. So there was academic and spiritual combined. So as a student, you were trained. After that, it is practice. You understand? So various duties, we were well trained and prepared to perform various duties. Today, this knowledge itself is not there in the education system. So we are picking up outside the education system this kind of a knowledge which can take us forward. Earlier, it was part of our way of life. So a person, when he becomes a student, learnt all this, then as a grahastha, he lived fulfilling the responsibilities. Since that education system collapsed. See, there are two things which collapsed. One is the Gurukula system completely collapsed. That was definitely Maculay's game plan. He did it and made sure that if a Gurukula was run, they were punished. Present. So Gurukula collapsed. We still had a backup plan. We had a second plan, that was joint family. Joint family was very different. It is such a beautiful, supportive structure. It had support and wisdom together. Today, what is your knowledge on parenting? First 5 years of my life was in joint family. We had 40, 45 people in our house. You can imagine, 45 people. Sharing became a way of life. Accepting became a way of life. My cousin would have used certain clothes, born little early to me. His clothes comes to me and my parents will not feel anything. Wear it. Sharing, acceptance, all were very different. Today you can. No way. And we had no, like you go sleep somewhere else in somebody's, some other uncle or aunt's room, they'll come and finally drop you back. I mean, we lived within a family like a community, 40, 45 people. And imagine the wisdom. The senior members had sheer experience of life. So when this system of education collapsed, the family values as joint family system still preserved it. That also collapsed. That was our backup plan, second plan collapsed. So in this kind of circumstances, you need to choose the priority. Because this knowledge, had it been given to you as a student, when you were in schools, when you have learned this, then your focus on duty is definitely important. Today I don't even know how to do my duty. This knowledge helps me to do it. So you should know to choose the priority. And it's a kind of a balance. So you should know when to take what and when not to take. That can come case to case. We can't generalize it. I can't say this knowledge is important, you should come here. If there's something more important in the family. So it can't be generalized. On each situation a person has to take a call. So you should know, okay, yes, I may not do my duty today, but this is something which may help me to do my duty better. So you should know to choose. But that also can't be taken always. If there is something really pressing and very important, not the daily routine, but something really important, you can't say, I'll go for the class. So it's a kind of a balance one needs to make. Because earlier this situation was not there, because we were well equipped. Knowledge was given, now you go live. Once I have gained the knowledge, it's only practicing afterwards. Today we are in a process of gaining the knowledge. Okay. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Shri Saumyakashisha Maheshwaraya Tasmai Namah Swami Tapovanaya Shri Saumyakashisha Maheshwaraya Tasmai Namah Swami Tapovanaya